Hello, Oswego, and welcome to this edition of Oswego Takeover 2.0. I'm Dane.
And I'm Jenna.
So Jenna, the last 2 weeks I've just really been tuned in.
Dane, what does that even mean?
I've been tuned in on the World Baseball Classic. It was just absolutely fantastic.
Really? I didn't even get a chance to watch it.
The Americans actually won for their first time in 2017. The atmosphere around the ballpark was just electric.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
Luckily, Nate and I made a segment on WBC 2017.
Cool, let's take a look.
The 2017 World Baseball Classic was one to remember. There were many fantastic moments. Whether it was Adam Jones' robbery of Manny Machado, Giancarlo Stanton's laser to left, Marcus Stroman's domination on the bump, the stardom of Team Israel, or Italy's comeback. Altogether, veteran manager for the Americans Jim Leyland and the U.S. made a statement. Here are the best moments of WBC 2017.
Robertson's grounded to third base. Arenado's got it. And the U.S.
That's all for Dane and Nate's sports segment this week. Let's send it back to the anchors.
Wow, that's pretty cool. It's too bad I didn't get to watch it.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. So Jenna, do you know if Nate, Austin, and Griffin have any more technology inventions to show us this week?
Yeah, actually they do. So let's send it over to them for a new edition of This Week in Technology.
Wherever you go, charge for 2 hours and have 8 hours of instant smooth video. You can even charge your own phone using the built-in power bank. This is the end of blurry photos and shaky videos for everyone. The last thing on our list is
Wow, they always find the coolest inventions.
I know, they always talk about things that I don't even know exist, but most of them seem pretty helpful.
Definitely.
So, Dane, do you know a lot about that OHS Inc. class that we have here at the high school?
Yeah, my dad teaches it. It's more like the kids kind of running their own business and them having a real job.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. Well, Austin has some information, so let's send it back over to him.
Ever wonder what OHS Inc. is really about? We had time to sit down with Mr. Richardson, the teacher for OHS Inc., and ask him about his class.
OHS Inc. is a combination of economics, government, and business also rolled into one. and it's a class in which all the students are treated like employees of a big corporation. So that way we can at once learn all the different curriculum requirements and teach those workplace skills that you wouldn't get in any other class. Well, like other classes, there are quizzes and tests and homework and things like that, but those are more geared towards the front part of the course. Ultimately, it's pushing towards something called project-based learning, where I teach something, show the students how to do something, and then they are in charge of executing it. And I essentially create the road and they kind of drive the car. And as they learn to drive the car better and better, they get to drive it more and more. That's where their actual grade comes from. And all the while, they're working in this workplace environment where they have to worry about team building and how they're getting along with their peers and who's doing what, and their student managers. And so you have that atmosphere that you wouldn't have in any other class. I would say it's about the same. It's just different. It's very different than a traditional class. The work level, while different, is about the same. Every class is divided up into 5 groups. You have marketing, operations, finance, civic action, and legal. And each one of those classes, then therefore, are functioned as a division of the overall corporation. And you could either just be an employee in one of those groups, you could manage one of those groups, you could manage the whole class as the vice president, or you might even manage the entire corporation as the CEO. Buck bucks are an example of fiat money. If you remember back to middle school, you had essentially the same thing. And what I've done is I've used them, slightly modified them, but used them in class as an opportunity to actually pay my employees' salary. So every student is an employee, every student gets paid, and they get physical buck bucks. And they can use those to pump up their grade, to redo old assignments and things. They actually have value. It's those differences. It's those things that you're not going to pick up in another class. There are leadership opportunities that you can probably not find anywhere else until you're in your 20s and out of college. I mean, imagine being able to say, yeah, I was in charge of 25 people if you were the class VP, and you're only 18 years old. The other thing is you get to work on all those interpersonal and team building skills in class that employers are often complaining that we don't teach. And so all of those things are actually built in and nested inside the curriculum of this class. And there isn't a whole lot of opportunity to learn those elsewhere.
So that's OHS Inc. This has been Austin Richardson
and Kevin Bloom, sending it back to the WBUC.
Wow, that's a pretty great opportunity for students here at the high school.
Yeah, totally. Well, that's all for this week's edition of Oswego Takeover 2.0.
Make sure to tune in next week and have a great week, Oswego.
You just like the flowers, tell you the truth with all that goodies.